The events happened on 7th July in history. 7th July 1313. Under the leadership of its Chancellor Henry Harclay, the University of Oxford passed a statute forbidding the carrying of weapons by its students. 7th July 1456. Joan of Arc is posthumously acquitted of her crimes. The hero of Orleans is rehabilitated. A quarter century after being burned for heresy, Joan of Arc was retried. Pope Calixtus III authorized the retrial, aiming to clear Joan's name. On 7th July, judges and priests assembled in the Great Hall of the Archbishop's Palace in Rouen, where Joan's family awaited the verdict. The Archbishop of Reims declared the original trial fraudulent and void, proclaiming Joan innocent. A copy of the original charges from 1431 was torn up. The French Inquisitor General, Jean Brahal, celebrated the news in Orleans, where Joan had lifted an English siege. The town had long honored her, but now her national heroine status was affirmed. 7th July 1661. Quaker writer and preacher and former parliamentarian soldier George Fox the Younger died at Hurst, now Hurstpierpoint in Sussex. 7th July 1807. Napoleon meets Alexander I. The Tsar of Russia has to make obeisance to France. In the summer of 1807, Napoleon Bonaparte, after defeating adversaries at Friedland, stood on the edge of Russia, near Tilsit on the Niemen River. A peace conference was held on a neutral raft. Napoleon reached the raft first. The nervous Alexander I expressed his readiness to assist Napoleon against the English. After days of negotiation, a treaty was signed. The terms were humiliating for Russia, joining Napoleon's anti-British continental system, handing over the Ionian Islands, and withdrawing from Wallachia and Moldavia. Napoleon's triumph was temporary, as Alexander cunningly viewed the alliance as a new way to resist Napoleon. 7th July 1930. Scottish writer Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the creator of the iconic detective Sherlock Holmes, died at his house in Crowborough, East Sussex, at the age of 71. Renowned for his extensive body of work, including novels, short stories, and historical writings, Doyle was initially buried in the rose garden of his estate. However, his final resting place was later changed, and he was reinterred alongside his first wife at Minstead in the New Forest. His death marked the end of a prolific career that significantly impacted the literary world. 7th July 1937, the Sino-Japanese War breaks out. Rising tensions bubble over into violence as shots ring out at the Marco Polo Bridge. The Marco Polo Bridge, completed in 1192 near modern Beijing, became the flashpoint for the Sino-Japanese War. By 1937, Japanese troops stationed in China had increased significantly, aiming to conquer the mainland. On 7th July, after a Japanese soldier went missing, his commanders demanded to search Wanping. The Chinese refused and tensions escalated. Local Chinese troops opened fire on Japanese soldiers at the Marco Polo Bridge the next morning. Although a ceasefire was agreed upon, news of the conflict spread. Japan sent more troops, and China's military leader, Chiang Kai-shek, resolved to fight the dwarf bandits from Japan. The war began, ultimately resulting in some 20 million deaths.